The Cosmos, the Macrocosm, delivered in New York, 19th January 1896, Part 1. The flowers that we see all around us are beautiful. Beautiful is the rising of the morning sun. Beautiful are the variegated hues of nature. The whole universe is beautiful, and man has been enjoying it since his appearance on earth. Sublime and awe inspiring are the mountains, the gigantic rushing rivers rolling towards the sea, the trackless deserts, the infinite ocean, the starry heavens. All these are awe inspiring, sublime, and beautiful indeed. The whole mass of existence, which we call nature, has been acting on the human mind since time immemorial. It has been acting on the thought of man, and as its reaction has come out the question, what are these? Whence are they? As far back as the time of the oldest portion of that most ancient human composition, the Vedas, we find the same question asked: whence is this? When there was neither ought nor naught, and darkness was hidden in darkness, who projected this universe? How? Who knows the secret? And the question has come down to us at the present time. Millions of attempts have been made to answer it, yet millions of times it will have to be answered again. It is not that each answer was a failure. Every answer to this question contained a part of truth, and this truth gathers strength as time rolls by. I will try to present before you the outline of the answer that I have gathered from the ancient philosophers of India in harmony with the modern knowledge. We find that in this oldest of questions, a few points have been already solved. The first is that there was a time when there was neither ought nor not, when this world did not exist, when Mother Earth was the seas and the oceans, the rivers and mountains, cities and villages, human races, animals, plants, birds, and planets and luminaries, all this infinite variety of creation and no existence. Are we sure of that? We will try to trace how this conclusion is arrived at. What does man see around him? Take a little plant. He puts a seed in the ground, and later he finds a plant peep out, lift itself slowly above the ground, and grow till it becomes a gigantic tree. Then it dies, leaving only the seed. It completes the circle, it comes out of the seed, becomes the tree, and ends in the seed again. Look at the bird, how from the egg it springs, lives its life, and then dies, leaving other eggs, seeds for future birds. So with the animals, so with man. Everything in nature begins, as it were, from certain seeds, certain rudiments, certain fine forms, and becomes grosser and grosser, and develops, going on that way for a certain time, and then again goes back to that fine form and subsides. The raindrop in which the beautiful sunbeam is playing was drawn in the form of vapor from the ocean, went far away into the air, and reached a region where it changed into water and dropped down in its present form to be converted into vapor again. So, with everything in nature by which we are surrounded, we know that the huge mountains are being worked upon like glaciers and rivers, which are slowly but surely pounding them and pulverizing them into sand that drifts away into the ocean, where it settles down on its bed, layer after layer, becoming hard as rocks, once more to be heaped up into the mountains of a future generation. Again they will be pounded and pulverized, and thus the course goes on. From sand rises these mountains, on to sand they go. If it be true that nature is uniform throughout, if it be true that so far no human experience has contradicted it, that the same method under which a small grain of sand is worked works in creating the gigantic suns, the stars, and all this universe, if it be true that the whole of this universe is built on exactly the same plan as the atom, if it be true that the same laws prevails throughout the universe, then, as it has been said in the Vedas, knowing one lump of clay, we know the nature of all the clay that is in the universe. Take up a little plant and study its life, and we know the universe as it is. If we know one grain of sand, we understand the secret of the whole universe. Applying this course of reasoning to phenomena, we find in the first place that everything is almost similar at the beginning and the end. The mountain comes from the sand and goes back into the sand. The river comes out of vapor and goes back to vapor. Plant life comes from a seed and goes back to the seed. Human life comes out of human germs and goes back to human germs. The universe, with its stars and planets, has come out of a nebulous state and must go back to it. What do we learn from this? That the manifested or the grosser state is the effect and the finer state the cause. Thousands of years ago, it was demonstrated by Kapila, the great father of all philosophy, that destruction means going back to the cause. If this table here is destroyed, it will go back to its cause, to those fine forms and particles which combined made this from which form which we call a table. If a man dies, he will go back to the elements which gave him his body. If this earth dies, it will go back to the elements which gave it form. This is what is called destruction, going back to the cause. Therefore, we learn that the effect is the same as the cause, not different. It is only in another form. This glass is an effect and it has its cause, and its cause is present in this form. A certain amount of the material called glass plus the force in the hands of the manufacturer are the causes, the instrumental and the material which combined produce this form called a glass. The force which was in the hands of the manufacturer is present in the glass as the power of adhesion, without which the particles would fall apart. And the glass material is also present. The glass is only a manifestation of these fine causes in a new shape, and if it be broken to pieces, the force which was present in the form of adhesion will go back and join its own element, and the particles of glass will remain the same until they take new forms. Thus, we find that the effect is never different from the cause. It is only that this effect is a reproduction of the cause in a grosser form. Next, we learn that all these particular forms, which we call plants, animals, or men, are being repeated ad infinitum, rising and falling. The seed produces the tree produces the seed, which again comes up as another tree, and so on and so on. There is no end to it. Water drops rolls down the mountains into the ocean and rise again as vapor, go back to the mountains and again come down to the ocean. So rising and falling, the cycle goes on. So with all lives, so with all existence that we can see, feel, hear, or imagine. Everything that is within the bounds of our knowledge is proceeding in the same way, like breathing in and breathing out in the human body. Everything in creation goes on in this form, one wave rising, another falling, rising again, falling again. Each wave has its hollow, each hollow has its wave. The same law must apply to the universe taken as a whole because of its uniformity. This universe must be resolved into its causes. The sun, moon, stars, and earth, the body and mind, and everything in this universe must return to their finer causes, disappear, be destroyed, as it were. But they will live in the causes as fine forms. Out of these fine forms, they will emerge again as new earths, suns, moons, and stars.